All right, wonderful. So, welcome to another episode of the Perspective Podcast. Today we have Heather and Sydney on the show. I'm excited to have you both on here.
Thank you for
Um,
having us.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, as you know, if you're a seasoned watcher, basically we talk about our vulnerable moments. Hardships that we have experienced in order to give you guys a little bit of wisdom at home to help navigate through your own situations. And again, every conversation is organic, raw, real, unprepared. It's just a natural conversation, and we just explore it as it comes.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Excellent. Beautiful. So I like to ask, the very beginning, tell me about some situations that you feel has really made you who you are. So who wants to start first?
Okay, I'll start.
We've been through a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And this is Sydney, just for anyone listening on audio.
Hello. I have been through a lot of different scenarios in which have shaped who I am today. I would say that the most impactful moments have brought me to a point where I advocate for myself and I invest in myself because I feel like that's been the most important thing throughout it all.
Yeah.
So, I mean, our entire life is made up of series of events that lead to right here, right now, why we're here
Right.
today. So I would say my children were a huge impactful moment. I think that there might have been something inside of me missing, and there has been until really recently, and you continue to work on that. But my children were certainly the beginning of that growth in finding that piece that was missing in me. Having my children finally brought me to the point of wanting to invest in myself and wanting to find that love that I was missing inside. And that was kind of having them, they became my main focus, and that was where I began my journey of leaving my abusive situation. And my daughters, I have a 3 and 4-year-old, almost 4 and 5. But they were 1 and 2 when I left. So it was fairly quick once I had them that I just felt like I needed better for them and better for myself.
Yeah.
So that's where the journey really began. The separation was fairly, it was dragged out. It was a long 7 years of dealing with really horrible things happening. And once I had them, I got that courage and I left. And that was when her and I reconnected. And we've been a lot for each other at this point.
Little besties.
Yeah.
Besties.
So I then, my girls and I moved in with my mom, and I'm very fortunate for that. And I didn't realize at that time how much growth was still left for inside of me and how much pain was still inside of me.
Yeah.
I lived with her for a 1.5 years, and that allowed me to begin the stages of self-love and just I learned a ton through it. But I still had my moments of allowing situationships to go on way longer than they should. And, just I didn't value how people were treating me still at that time. A 1.5 years later, we bought a duplex together, which was a blessing of an adventure. We live right next door.
Yeah.
And that's allowed us to just flourish with our emotions, honestly. Like we have each other right there through every moment. But having that independence mostly was another big step for me, because my daughters were able to just watch me and are able to watch me do things on my own. And that's once I got to that point, I really started to do things for me. Of course, a little bit of self-care, but I also decided to step out of my comfort zone in a lot of things. And stepping out of my comfort zone has been the biggest leap, I would say, because that's where you start to feel pride, and that's where you start to just get this fulfilled feeling in your bones, and you feel okay with yourself, and you finally are proud of the things that you're doing and like the hobbies that I'm doing, and I have different goals, and I want my daughters to see me succeed. And so once you're taking care of yourself, and once you're truly loving yourself and you feel fulfilled with your own being, I think that's just when life starts to transform for you, because that's when you get the warm, fuzzy feeling inside that you used to look for in somebody else. That's when you get it when you look up and the sun's hitting your face, and you get it when your daughters are in your arms, and that's when you get it when we do dance, when you hit a move that you've been really trying, or when you get up on stage in front of people. That warm, fuzzy feeling inside comes from yourself, and that only happens once you invest in your own happiness and invest in your growth and finding what makes you specifically you.
Interesting. Very nice. I'm very excited. Thank you again for opening up and sharing about that. You know,
of course.
I also want to give Heather the floor too, to kind of open up. You know what I mean? Usually we do like one-on-one shows.
Yeah.
But you know, I think it's interesting that you guys have each other as like part of like what's really helped you guys. But before we get any deeper, you know what I mean? I just want to make sure that we hear Heather's side too, and that we don't just, you know, so Heather.
Oh, she's a good talker.
Yeah.
You got the floor. No, you guys got some good stuff, and I don't want to make it seem like I'm just like brushing past what you said.
No,
I just want to.
I have very similar story, and so funny way about how her and I met. She was my client. She was buying a house with me, so I'm a realtor, and I met her, and her and I kind of clicked, and we had very similar situations. And one day we just kind of kept giving each other like clues of like, this is what I'm going through. And then finally one day we opened up and we're like, oh my God, we're in the same situation. She left hers before I left mine, and I waited a long time. I was in it, I mean, it's almost 15 years at this point, and I have a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old, and I watched her leave, and I'm like, she can do it, I can do it. So she was somebody I leaned on so much, and through this process, I was such an independent person before. I was the person everybody leaned on. I was the moneymaker. I was everything, and I was giving myself to everybody and didn't even believe in self-love, self-care. So this entire process has taught me to start being comfortable with myself. And she's taught me a lot about self-love and self-care. There was so much guilt tied into it with myself where I'm like, I need to give everybody everything. And it got to a point going through this and getting the strength to leave that I had to find that strength of you've got to fill your own cup before you can fill anybody else's. And that was a valuable lesson that she taught me. I think everybody's in your life for a reason. The situation I left, that was a huge learning experience for me of find your own strength. And I was every day waking up of trying to prove myself I'm worthy of a love that I would never get in that situation. And every day it was me forcing myself to be somebody I wasn't to try to make someone else happy. Finally leaving, it taught me, and I think my kids see it too, you flourish once you're in the right environment, and our situation is perfect. You see all these memes and like reels on Instagram of living next to your best friend, and we're like, we live that every day. We have our independence when we need our alone time or we need quiet or need to clean our house in peace. But when we want to have fun and cook dinner together or have our kids play while we're doing a workout, it's possible. It's amazing. We talk everything through. I think we have a good dynamic where if something's bothering us, we nip it in the butt right then and there. We've never gotten in a fight. Our financials are involved in this. We've made it so fair to each other that it's been good. It's been a good learning curve, I think, for both of us. But leaving that situation, it taught me self-love, and every day I'm trying to get better at it. I am a completely different person than I was 2 years ago when I originally started the process of leaving. So proud of myself for that. And one thing everyone keeps telling me is my whole life is chaos because I'm still going through it, but I can flip a switch and be professional and still have my real estate career and still try to be number one agent. I think a lot has been affected mentally with that, and I'm trying so hard professionally to like carry on what I was doing. But my kids go to work with me. I have a second job to try to handle it, and it's stuff I used to look down on people like, oh my God, you have a second job, you must be struggling. And now I tell people, I'm struggling, I have a second job, and I'm going to get through it, and I'm going to be okay. And one day, everything's going to make sense. But I think every day is a different adventure, and our situation is so much fun.
Yeah.
And especially how we met, too. Like, she was a client, and then we just became friends, and we were pregnant at the same time. Our daughters are the same age. So her oldest is my youngest's age. So we're both going to have 5-year-olds, which is crazy to me. But we reconnected going through this. And I think, we were talking about our motto is God has a plan. And I think everything happens for a reason. There's a reason that her and I stayed connected and got as close as we did. There's a reason that people are out of my life at this point. There's a reason I got the strength to stay in my career, which is a very hard career. Real estate right now is just awful, but and it's an unpredictable market. So it's frustrating to be a single income and have to deal with extensions and realize that the focus is still going to be on your client, not your paycheck. And I think that's something that a lot of realtors struggle with, and it's something I've struggled with, especially being a single income. So again, self-love is there. A lot of independence is there, strength, courage. And I've had to lean on my dad a lot through all of this. It helped me with my relationship with him. We were never super close. My mom passed away 7 years ago now.
I'm sorry.
And Sid said, she felt like part of her was missing. I always felt fulfilled. And then when my mom passed, it was like part of me was missing. And I'm trying to fill that part. And my dad now has really stepped up. And I'm like, I finally feel the love he was never able to give me. He's so supportive now. And fitness is a huge part of our daily life now. And my dad's super supportive of that. And he's like, you're doing the best healthy thing for yourself. So through all of this, I've lost people. I've gained people. I've nurtured relationships that should have been nurtured when I didn't have anything to give. So it's been amazing, but those are nothing glamorous, no amazing milestones other than having my kids that really shaped me. Every day is a learning curve. I take it day by day. Yeah. I love our life though. Every day there are struggles, of course, but every day I'm like, I love my life. 2 years ago, I was miserable. I was about 50 pounds heavier, and I was just going through the motions, and I'm so intentional with the way I live now, or at least try to be. I think I'm still growing. I still have so much growth to do, and I'm still trying. But I'm definitely a different person than I was, and I'm happy for it.
Excellent. Beautiful. So we hear about the dynamic.
Yeah.
What is some insight you have on this?
Oh, well, I was just going to say there is something about when you completely have lost yourself for everybody else, which was the situation that we both were in. We're very similar people, and
Give.
Yeah, we were in exact same situations, but now that we're out of it, we're definitely at different points.
Yeah.
But we're still that same very giving people. But there is just something about it's such a numbness when you no longer are you and you just completely have lost yourself. But completely losing myself is why I have so much gratitude for finding myself again. And it's why it feels magic. There's no better feeling than just hearing the birds chirp outside. I feel
Cinderella over here.
I feel it inside of me because I can enjoy every piece of life now. I mean, we're rich in our friendship, and we're rich with our healthy children and the opportunities and the community that we've built through dance, things that we never thought we would do, never would have been able to do before.
We wouldn't have been allowed to.
Yeah, we've gained so many people, and I have a wonderful supportive family, and it just
Who have nicely adopted me.
yeah, it gives just such a gratitude in what maybe others and I have at some point taken for granted. But yeah, once you get to that point of feeling fulfilled with you, that's when you can just have this gratitude of all that you are rich in. It might not be other people's point of view of what rich should be defined as, but we certainly have it.
That's one thing. We're in such a world that's based off of how much can you buy and the exotic cars, and I used to live that life. I needed this experience to humble myself. I think I've always been a good, generous person, and I've always shared my wealth with people. I helped people when they needed it financially, but it was to a point I had nothing emotionally to give, and financial was all I could give. So now that my situation has changed and I'm, by myself and have to try to be independent, my emphasis off money is taken off, and it's been a huge experience that I needed. I don't want to say I had my nose turned up to the world, but it was to the point where I had no anxiety about my financials. I had money in the bank and I knew it, and everybody knew it, and I would post about all this stuff that I would buy on Facebook, and when that stuff wasn't an emphasis anymore and it didn't fulfill me and it didn't fulfill the life I had, now that's the scary part. You have to look at yourself and you're like, I have to fulfill myself. And it's a vulnerable place to be of you have none of this exotic stuff and none of the pleasures of life that you can buy, and you just have to have people see you for who you are and love you without buying their love. It was a scary thing for me, and I have the most genuine people in my life now because of it. All the people that, and there weren't many, but people who did use me in those situations, and I was more than happy to help and loved helping, but I was used specifically by one person who still is dragging me through the mud and sees me struggle on a daily basis, and it gives them pleasure, and I'm able to just live knowing I'm a much better person than them, and I've stayed myself, my true self, and showed the world that money doesn't define me anymore. And it's a scary place to be because I feel like a failure sometimes, but
I was gonna say you still definitely
yeah,
feel shameful about it.
I'm like, look at the life I used to have.
And I feel like that's a part where I try to help you with it.
Work in progress.
Because I lived a very different life and didn't have money, and kind of always lived this way of just like, I'm gonna
day
make
by
it
day.
work, yeah, and make it happen. So I feel like I try to help with that perspective, and we both have those different pieces in the dynamic of our relationship of just if one's down, the other one tries their best to
lift up and pick up the slack. It taught me that soulmates don't have to be romantic, and I don't think I've met my soulmate other than like platonic, obviously best friends, but I don't know if I believe in soulmates, but her and I have such a dynamic where we have such a village. We help each other raise each other's kids, and like she said, when one of us is down, the other just picks them right back up. She had a migraine the other day, and I'm like, I got the girls. And there are times where I'm like, I literally just need help today. And she helps me discipline the kids. I have a special needs child. So, and with all of the factors that I have involved in my life, I have a lot of stuff I don't have control over when it comes to him. So trying to help him and do it and I don't know, try to stop what's happening on the other side and help my son the best way I can. It's hard, and she's there trying to explain stuff, and my daughter's amazing, and I have the best life that way. But the kids also were so used to every time we went to a store, they would get a toy, and there was no limit on what you threw in that cart we would buy. So it was a change of life for all of us, and now they're also learning. You don't buy love. Just because mommy didn't buy you a toy today doesn't mean I don't love you. I'm spending time with you. We're hugging, we're dancing. It's a happy environment and we're cooking together. Like, it's such a more meaningful relationship that I have with my kids, where before I wasn't able to give that. Emotionally, I was drained, physically drained, just hated my life.
Yeah. Taking them out of the chaos is the best thing we could have done for them, no matter what sometimes we feel we are lacking. It's better than any day prior of the unhealthy just surroundings. And the other day at work, it's just the little things you're not grateful for. The other day at work, there were two people that started arguing a bit, and I could feel myself just feeling this tension that I haven't felt in so long. And the person called out, "Oh, Sydney is getting really uncomfortable and nervous right now." And like, usually in social interactions, I feel like I'm fine no matter what. But I could feel myself just like closing up, and I haven't felt that in a long time. And I realized it's because I have created this world of peace, and I haven't been in just that awful environment in a long time of arguing and just anything like that. And so that's what we're doing for our kids too. Imagine how they were living before, just always tension, always uncomfortable. And now they're so free and they're so proud and boldly them. And there's nothing more than I want in life, for them to be able to just be what I always wanted to be, what I always was striving to where I was striving to get, and now I finally am. And I feel like we can give them the opportunity to find that so much sooner.
Yeah, absolutely. And take the definition off money. My son watches YouTube, and there's people like buying all the opening the boxes and stuff, and he's like, "You need to get that." And I'm like, well, we can make our own, but it's not about the stuff. And that's something that I'm so grateful I have that view of now, because before it was all about the stuff. It was me trying to fill a hole and try to make somebody happy who was never happy with themselves. And now finally I'm happy with myself, and I can look on the outside and see it was never me, which is such a great place to be. Sometimes I still have those moments of, did I make the right decision? But it was never me. I was never the problem, and it took years of therapy and years of her listening to me banter and cry and stress out. But I'm finally to a place where I'm like, I'm getting to the point of healthy. I think everybody has a place for growth every day, but I'm fine. I am much healthier than I was mentally.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Good self-love. That's the
Most
motto
important
of
thing in
today.
life.
Yeah.
What's the point of life?
That's the most important thing in life.
Oh,
yeah.
oh.
Yeah, self-love.
I disagree.
Oh, tell us.
I disagree.
What's the most important thing in life?
I believe in God,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So I think the most important thing is to love God with your whole heart and soul.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the number one. And then to love your neighbors like you love yourself.
Yep.
I think that's number two. But number one is love God with your whole heart and soul. And I think once you do that, that's like a very small thing. If we really dissect it, God is love. So when you love God, you love love.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? With your whole heart and soul. And if you know God, if you love God, you want to know him better, right? In order to know him better, you open up the word, but you'll know that he really wants the best for you. You know what I mean? When you really know him, again, you know love. So if you love him, you're basically pouring into yourself. You know what I mean? Because he's going to pour into you. You know what I mean? And if you love him, you want to do right by him. You'll get people into the kingdom. Yeah. You'll fix your mistakes. You know what I mean? You'll see where you feel like you're messing up. You know what I mean? Because if you really love him, you want to know him more. I think the only way to really know him more is to open up that 1,000-page book. You know what I mean? Because the word became flesh. You know what I mean? And that's what it came down to. So to love God with your whole heart and soul, everything else comes into play. Seek the kingdom first, and everything else will be provided to you. You know what I mean? So if I have a plan for my life, my plans can get disregarded. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can loving myself is limited because I'm a human. I always make mistakes. If I love myself, sometimes maybe I see a good looking girl. I'm like, damn, I want to have, I want to, but is that really loving myself?
Right.
Because
Right.
it could
Yeah.
be hurting me.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And not serving me. So you have these things that you love, but don't serve you. So is that really love? You know what I'm saying? Oh, I love eating all this shit. I'm going to eat everything in the house. Is
Yeah.
that really love? Or is like separating yourself and having a sense of discipline love?
Right.
Is absence love? You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, he is so overwhelming in his love. Even in my imperfections, I am loved. So I don't think I am really even capable of loving myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In comparison.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's what I think.
Beautiful. I love hearing people's perspective on that in particular. I mean, I grew up no religion whatsoever, no knowledge of it whatsoever. And I am very blessed to have some like distant family. So I don't want to call them distant because I'm close with them, but
In
like
the
you
pipeline,
mentioned,
yeah.
they come into your life for a reason. So they're like almost step family, but I'm very close with them, and she opens up a lot about God with me, and I love listening to her speak, and that helped me because actually that's within this year that I started looking to God and started
Becoming faithful.
yes, yeah, I never had that in my life before, so it's very new to me, but it is something that I'm trying to learn more about, and I love hearing people speak about.
Yeah.
And you do.
I do. I grew up Catholic. I went to Catholic school. It probably isn't a dynamic I'm going to raise my children in, but what I'm trying to teach them, and they believe in God, and they have the kids' Bibles, and they know my mom is in heaven, and we just had to put our dog down, and I had to explain to them, Toby was almost 18 years old, and he's going to heaven, and he's going to watch over you, and you can talk to him every day. And I think we said before, our motto for life is God has a plan. Whether it's good or bad, something happens to you, I have a feeling that there's this whole plan in place, and you're supposed to meet people along the way. And if you're running late for the day, like that burnt toast theory, you run late for the day, it's because you missed a major car accident that you would have been the victim in. And I feel like everything happens for a reason. So God has a plan is a motto that I live by, good or bad, and I love that. And having faith in something bigger than myself and knowing, there's something after you're present in this life that's helped me through, and it makes death not scary. It makes not having money in your bank account not as scary. There's something bigger than you in this world, and I do think self-love it ties into that because, God loves you and made you in this perfect image, and these days nobody feels perfect, but you can try your best and put work into yourself and try to love yourself the way that he would love you. And
Right.
that's something I try to teach my kids every day.
Absolutely. There's a lot of things that I want to touch upon that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Number one is, first of all, I love that you are connecting with the Most High.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel like that is the only way to truly heal through anything.
Absolutely.
Because that's truth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? From my personal opinion, my belief.
Yes.
And I would say the number one important thing is to actually have our own relationship with him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Not to just go in a church and
Right.
blindly listen to verses or traditions.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's best for us to actually open up the word ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
Read it, get the discernment, read it again, go through it and really build our own relationship with him, because there's so many components, and that's what we need to do. That being said, my family was Catholic.
Yep.
But it was never really taught to me.
Mm-hmm.
But as I grew older, elements came into my life where people started talking about God, you know what I mean, and Jesus, even though I don't think that's his name.
Yeah.
And then it just made sense to me. You know what I mean? Like I would hear it and I was just like, yes, like I always knew this, but I never explored it, never got it was never really taught, but I feel this.
Right.
And in the Bible, it also mentions that the word is written in our hearts.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And if it's someone who with eyes who see and ears who hear, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there are going to be people who be energized when they hear the word.
Yeah.
I don't believe in the Catholic system.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this Christmas, all these holidays, these are man-made traditions. And it doesn't serve, even like the idea of the Pope. It's just,
Right.
you know what I mean? We all have that connection to be able to communicate with the Most High. You get what I'm
Agreed.
saying? It's about our hearts. And he will come and discern and should reveal himself. It's not this one person. No, that was Jesus. That was Christ.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? And not no one else. You get what I'm saying? It goes against completely everything that is taught. You know, and then there's 10 commandments, just to solidify this. And I always use this as an example because it's so beautiful to me. It says, for the second commandment, thou shalt not create any idols that represent anything in heaven above, the waters below, or anything on earth.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But all these churches have idols.
Right.
Jesus on the cross.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, we are not supposed to bow down and worship. And there's also verses about heathens who go and decorate, who cut down trees and then decorate them and put them in their house, decorate them with silver and gold and blah, 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 which is like the concept of Christmas.
Right.
You know what I mean? So just to go like a little bit deeper, which we did, but that's the idea.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, if we really step back and look at the traditions and look at the Bible in comparison, we can really see who serves who.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I don't believe in the Catholic Church. I don't believe in many of these churches.
Right.
I believe in the Word. You know what I mean? And that's what I believe in. You know what I mean? So
Agreed.
that's what I'm going to take and like
Yeah.
throw that out there.
I see signs every day. I'll stay at home and I pray at least once a day, whether I tell somebody or not, and whether it's loud, I'm crying, I'm laughing, or it can be something quiet in my head. I'm praying every day. And I do see signs of stuff being heard and answered, and that does keep my faith alive. And, you know, through this whole process of leaving and trying to be independent and expose what I went through, I'm finally seeing some type of good stuff happen to me, good karma, and finally prayers being answered, and, you know, signs that somebody is listening. So it's been helpful, but it's the only thing that got me through life. I was 25 and lost my mom to cancer, and I was going through this traumatic time in my marriage, and I had a child and was soon to be pregnant with another one, and it was just the worst time to lose your mom. So faith is the only thing that got me through it, and that's really when I became like most faithful, not the Catholic Church. It was very cultish. You're just chanting and saying these words, and I never knew the meaning behind it. And they really don't bring up the Bible very much in church. So yeah, I like doing it at home. Mm-hmm. Makes it more meaningful.
And this is helpful for me to hear because I have been trying to navigate like where it stands for me. Mm-hmm. So I pray. It's usually in bed at night. Sometimes not. It can be at any time, but I do every day as well now. Yeah. And that started probably less than a year ago.
Yeah.
So it is new. On my bedside, I have it's like, I wish I knew the name of it, but it's Bible verses, and it's like for mothers.
Yeah, for the women, yeah.
So I don't really know what that means, but I read that, and my daughter actually asked me to read it because it's a pretty like floral book. So she's always like, "Can you read the book?" And then I have an app on my phone that gives me different things from the Bible every day, and like just different people communicating about it. But yeah, it's kind of hard to navigate with it being so new. Is I know what it means to me and what I'm doing with it, but there isn't really a community besides the two of us actually do talk about it, and then the family member that she lives kind of far, but when I do see her, that I get chills listening to her because you can just tell like you feel it in your heart, and when you're talking to people like that, it's moving. So yeah, it's kind of hard to figure out, like, do I go to church to kind of feed that part of me? Do I don't know. And where would I go? It's hard to navigate trying to figure it out newly, but
my son does ask to go, and I think there's a stigma with going of, you know, you have a community there, but in a way I felt lost in the Catholic Church. You're a fish among a school of fish, and especially in the Catholic Church, it's, again, a routine, and you say the same stuff, and, you know, sometimes they read Proverbs, and sometimes they'll read stuff, and the priest will talk, but the lesson is only 10 minutes, and then the rest of it is just the routine that you do every single Sunday. So that's where I moved away from it. And then also having my son, he loves echoes, and being in the church, he'll just sit there and make noises, and it just wasn't peaceful for anybody. It didn't give the meaning of church that you want it to. I do want a nice place to bring the kids, but again, I'm trying to explain to them we can have our own church at home, and you can talk to God and talk to angels and talk to Gigi and talk to Toby whenever you want, wherever you are. That's the special thing. He's always listening.
Right. There's a few different things I want to touch upon.
Yeah.
Right. Number one, we're going to start with you.
Okay.
First of all, you said you felt it in me. Glory to the Most High. It's not me. You get what I'm saying?
Okay, yeah.
Like,
It's him.
it's not me. And I don't want credit for that. So thank you for like expressing love and stuff like that. But it's not me. And I don't want it to be. You know what I'm saying? Because, again, I'll always fall short. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're humans. We're bound to disappoint someone at any point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Like, so don't use me. Okay?
Okay.
And another thing, you guys are saying that you're praying in private, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, biblically speaking, like, that's exactly how you're supposed to do it. You know what I mean? There's a verse in the Bible, right? And it says, do not pray like not the Gentiles, but like the Pharisees or somebody who, goes out into the open and they cry, or like, I think it's like the pagans or something, like they cry out into the public and they're like, oh Lord, blah, 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 like in front of everybody to see.
Right.
They already got the reward.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They've paid their reward in full. They have been paid their reward in full. Just
Right.
like them just expressing this in public for people to see, like you know what I mean? If you really want to pray to God, you go into your room and you close your door and you say, Our Father in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread, and forgive us of our transgressions, as we also have forgiven our transgressors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. For the kingdom, the power, and the glory are yours forever and ever. So that's what, like, the Most High, the Christ, says how you should pray. Close your door and do that by yourself. You know what I mean? Because it's your relationship with him.
Right.
And he knows what you need before you ever say anything.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So that's just like one of those things. So that's just the verse, and what you guys are doing kind of like already, it is biblical. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To have that own prayer, like not for others to witness.
Yeah.
So because then again, you're getting your reward in full.
Right.
You know what I mean? Other people see you pray, and now you feel like, you know what I mean? No, it's knowing God, being in private. He knows what you need far before you ever need it. So surrender yourself to him, essentially.
Yeah.
God
has a plan.
Right. And the next thing I want to touch up on is that I like from what I've like heard, it's come across in studies, is that when people die, like there's like two times, like 2 points when like they go into heaven. So first, it was like there's generations ago, like the real old generations. Like I'm not really refined on this, so I'm not like crystal clear. So you'd have to do your own research.
Yeah.
But like there's like a first generation that went into heaven, and then everyone after that is currently sleeping.
Oh.
Yeah. So we're like they're in a rest right now until Judgment Day.
Oh.
Once Judgment Day comes, then everyone will be, so like people who died 1,000 years or like 100 years ago or however long ago
Right.
are still currently in rest right now.
Okay. I
You know
think
what I
I've
mean?
heard this. I thought Judgment Day was like after they died, though. Like everyone had their own individual Judgment Day. Okay.
It's all of us. We're going to be judged by on a like, I forgot what the word is, but it's something of our peers.
Okay.
So it's like all of us are essentially going to be put on a balance of scales.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
like we're going to look at our entire lives and like
boy.
see exactly. And that's why like it's good to like love God,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But we must fear him at the same time.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because again, we're imperfect and we need two sides of motivation. Without the fear, we just like, oh, he's going to forgive me.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm going to be a douche. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
you know what I'm saying? But
it's
like,
fine. Everything's fine.
right. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
like at the end of the day, like we can let him down.
Yeah.
We can let ourselves down. We can let others down. You know what I mean? And sometimes people do wickedness all of their lives
Yeah.
and stray people away from the kingdom. Like these pastors, you know what I mean? Like they
Right.
push people away,
Right.
which then leads them to live a life of confusion, which is a wasted life almost.
Right.
But I don't want to say that because lives are beautiful.
Yeah.
But Yeah. Forgot what I was saying.
There was a second one though, right? A
What?
second heaven, or was that
Oh,
it? The
no,
judgment day?
It's like, it's the same heaven.
Yeah.
But like these periods, like after a certain time, it was, people were just going to sleep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now they're still in sleep until Judgment Day
Day.
comes. Yeah. That's how it goes. And then they also say, if you're talking to like ghosts, or if you're talking to these spirits, those are familiar spirits. These are demons that are presenting themselves as people who you once knew. And like, because these demons have been around for thousands of years, and they know all, like, so much information. They're communicating, and they'll use that as a way to deceive you. You know what I mean? So if you want to talk to anyone, talk to the Most High. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And that's what it would be. So the combination of the fear of the Most High, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The love, and just having a connection with Him.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I'm only saying that because, you know, like, you know, I've had a little bit more studies, I think.
Yep.
And I see that you have like a passion,
Mm-hmm.
and I just want to, like, while we're talking about it, I feel like it would be wrong for me not to, like, at least speak from my understanding of things.
Yeah. I
And-
was limited.
and-
Catholic Church.
but-
That's it.
I'm just presenting something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I
now
love
that
it.
it's been presented, it's up to you now to do your own research.
Yep.
You know what I mean? See what's up.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And then decide. You know what I mean? Because again, He's going to judge us based off of what we know. The less we know, the more essentially we can get away with.
Right.
The more we know, the higher standard we're held up to.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's why life can potentially get even more difficult with a stronger faith.
Right.
You know what I mean? As you continue to know more and more and more and more and more and more and more, you're now held to higher and higher standards.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I feel like that's something I'm experiencing. Life has gotten harder. And then all this praying and, you know, essentially just saying, I've got to trust God at this point. That's every day. My motto is God has a plan. There's a reason something happens. There's a reason that I pass every person that I'm supposed to pass in the grocery store, or every client that reaches out to me. There's a reason. And I essentially, with my job, I'm a huge part of people's milestones. So maybe I'm a part of their plan, and it's humbling and amazing, and something that I became passionate about 7 years ago when my mom died. And yeah, I love the knowledge, and I love looking at it from a different perspective, because Catholicism is so very old school, and it's been the same way for centuries now. So like the prayers that are said are the same prayers my grandmother said and her grandmother said, and it's all the exact same every day. So it's nice hearing it from a different perspective, and being able to do my own research.
Yeah, exactly. It's your relationship. You know
And
what I mean?
my
I'm just a
relationship.
person who's just walking in
Yep,
with, you know, things that may or may not apply.
absolutely.
You know what
And
I
this
mean?
is good stuff for you too,
Yes,
because you didn't grow
absolutely.
up in the
Yeah.
church. So, I mean, it's not something I want to raise my kids in. And now you can make the decision whether church or Christianity or Catholicism or anything is going to be part of your plan with your kids.
It is also interesting listening too, because you know you knew at least some of the keywords that
Yeah.
he was saying. I know none of this, so I do really value having these conversations and learning bits and pieces. And as you said, I do take what I've learned and look into it more
Yeah.
later on, and then we have our conversations about it, and I feel like it happens every time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Conversations like this are had. So do you feel that being held to a higher standard is like the place that you feel you belong and want to be, or like a goal?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
There's two
feel it
sides
should
of
be
this.
everybody's, but
Right.
yeah.
When I'm held to a higher standard,
Yeah.
it's because I have greater knowledge of what there is to gain and what there is to
Mm-hmm.
lose. You know what I mean? Like, the more I know what there is to gain. You get what I'm saying? And if I fall back, there's a lot to lose.
Yeah.
Right.
My soul. You know what I mean? I can either live in eternity and have peace with everyone in the kingdom who makes it there, and like enjoy and love and, you know, everything that we want out of this, but we'll never get. Or I can cease to exist. You know what I mean? Like, that's a high level of fear. You know what I mean? And a high level of like, wow. great, like gratitude, you know? And because I know that fear, you know what I mean? Now, like I have this higher standard, the pressure, it's an easy choice. You know what I mean? Even if it means I die, my reward is great. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's just
absolutely.
like, fine. It's an easy choice.
Yeah.
I don't care if sure it's like physically it may be difficult and you have like these emotions.
Yeah.
But the decision is it's easy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So.
It's a different way of living, knowing there's nothing to fear with death anymore. That was a huge part of everything with me, and I avoided death in every aspect of my life. I avoided my own mom's death. Like, I would not hop on that plane knowing she was going to pass any minute, and avoided it, but knew there was nothing to be scared of, and she was ready. We had that conversation that she knew where she was going, and she knew she was a good person, and she was such a generous person too, which I think is where I've always stayed true to myself, and it was one of the great things I got from her, even when I had all the money in the world, and I still was a generous, sweet person, and I think everything that's happened to me just enhanced that and made me a better person and humbled me in the ways I needed to be humbled, but I stayed true to myself in the ways that I love myself. Like, I genuinely think I'm a good person, and you and I are so similar in that way. But living in a place where you're not afraid of death and you can live life to the fullest, that's a good place to be. That's where I'm like, I'm not afraid of anything as long as my kids are taken care of. That's my only fear of dying, is what the hell is going to happen to my kids?
Yeah.
Right.
I think even like when you first started speaking about this, one of the first things that you said is about, you know, the most important is loving God,
Right.
not loving yourself. And that absolutely makes sense. And I love the point that you brought up of when you love him, then you're not it's not about what's like serving you in the moment. It's kind of like what really serves
Life.
Yes. And I think that that's a really important thing to live by.
Yeah.
And I feel like I do practice that. And I feel like that actually like was a wonderful thing for you to say, because that is what I feel like warms me and like fills me with joy, is living to what like serves everything.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Definitely.
But without hurting yourself. There are some moments where I'm like, oof, I was like trying to do something for somebody else, and then you look back and you're like, shouldn't have done that. But you mentioned demons and like, you know, temptation, and I think that plays a huge part, especially in the stage that we're at in life, where we're still trying to figure out, you know, what's holding boundaries, when is it healthy, and then when are you giving into somebody else's dream, or when is temptation or demons trying to come into play.
Right.
And that's a struggle where I have to forgive myself for some of the decisions I've made, but also, you know, on Judgment Day, what the heck's going to happen when they replay my life?
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see. But it's a good learning curve.
I have definitely experienced that so I've been separated for 3 years. And so one of the more recent things is the like temptations and like the decisions you make in the moment. We should be stepping back and looking at how it actually will serve for us, for others.
What's the right decision? Holding boundaries.
That's definitely a recent. I would say I had a solid year of like searching for a partner, honestly.
Yeah.
And within searching for a partner, I was doing things that was not serving for me. And so I finally got to this point that I was doing things that made me feel fulfilled, and like just the stepping out of my comfort zone just like gives you this extra feeling about life. And that's finally when I was like, if this is all I have for the rest of my life, like what I have in this moment, if this is it, I'm good. I'm happy with it.
Self-love.
Yeah. But that's it too, is just knowing that the things I'm doing it's self-serving, but also it's serving for others, and it just feels good. Everything feels.
And the girls, I mean, our kids are the most important thing. So everything I try to do, I try to make sure that they're proud of me. That's something we've talked about. I mean, she told her girls that she was going to be here today, and they're so proud of her. And when we do our dance class and we hit a trick, my kids are like, "Oh my God, Mom."
Yeah. They'll look at us and say, "Mom, you're so cool.
Teach me to do that." So everything. And like when I sell a house, I tell the kids, I'm like, "Mommy's getting paid," and they're proud of me. They are proud of the house we have and the life we have, and they live with Auntie, and it's amazing, and everything's trying to be the best person for my kids and undo the bad that's been done in their lives. And I realized they had a lot of trauma for such little humans. Like she said, the constant tension. Now there's so much peace in the house that their nervous systems are like, oh my God, like it's just so quiet, and it's, what do I do? They're used to the tension. They were born into it. So trying to reteach them that, you know, having the faith and living in peace, that's okay. It's normal and it's good and it's healthy, and doing stuff for yourself, it's healthy. Stop serving other people and hold boundaries. I think it all ties into, again, God's plan. And I feel like I've been tested a lot the past few years, and sometimes I've given in when I shouldn't have, and sometimes I've held my ground, and I'm proud of myself. And I think right now what I'm going through, I'm holding my ground because I know it's the best thing for my kids overall. And I've been pressured in a lot of different directions, and trying to trust the plan and trust, like, you know, what are demons and what's the actual plan that's supposed to happen for my kids, and what's supposed to play out.
We just don't know it.
We don't, and it's
life
terrifying.
Is what happens when you're too busy planning it.
Yes, I know.
So.
I know I'm a planner. It's bad. Type A personality.
Not me.
Awesome.
No, you are spontaneous.
This is a good segue.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think first, foremost, I want to answer all these questions that you just gave.
Oh,
like,
boy.
or just like,
Yeah,
just
there were a
statements, or not even answer, just like touch up on some statements you made. You know what I mean? First, we're going to start off with becoming something else when people are presented in your life. You know what I mean? Like fitting an image when, you know, someone comes in and you almost like are not really yourself.
Right.
And then I also want to connect it beforehand. We mentioned like I wasn't the problem, right? When it came to these relationships, I know nothing of the dynamic, but I will say, as we mentioned before the show, if someone else is the problem, I don't have an answer.
Right.
If I'm the problem, I have an answer.
Right.
Right. And I think it's good to always look at the pros and the cons. You know what I mean? Like haters, sometimes we want to avoid what they have to say.
Right.
But they might be telling us some real stuff that the people who love us are too afraid to say.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? And even still, like the people who, you know what I mean, we can't let it get to our head what they're saying, because then we also may take the foot off the gas and just like start to like become satisfied in some things. And I don't know. But number one is, again, I don't know what you guys went through, right? But maybe for like, you know, thought-provoking things, there were some things you had experienced before you guys even met these people who came into your life that allowed you to accept certain behaviors. You know what I mean?
We talk about that all the time.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that being said, if it's a pattern outside of it too, the answer that I would suggest is that our identity comes from Christ.
Right.
You know what I mean? And the more we know him, the more we can properly understand and have discernment on when's giving too much, when it's a chance, when we should take a chance. You know what I mean? Like the discernment comes in the more we know him, because if we have something to gauge the decision, then we can play off that decision.
Right.
And if you're getting tested, maybe it's not an actual test. Maybe it's discipline to get you closer.
Right.
You know what I mean? Maybe like these were things to get you closer, and not just simple tests. Obviously it's a test too. Like if you really love him, you will get closer.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you're not going to fall away. So it's a combination of test and discipline to get you guys closer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I would say find your identity in him, open up the word, and then try to, with the information that you get, then maybe you'll have some discernment, insight on what habits, what traits, what feelings, what am I like what is, I'm supposed to look at this. Is this what I'm getting?
Right.
Am I feeling this right here? Is this, you know what I mean? And then that can help lead you too. Because a woman, right, it's good for her to serve her man, but if they're not both serving Christ, that's an issue.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it will be as, and that's the thing too. Sometimes people will have successful lives in this, right? And they don't get trialed and tested and blah, blah, blah. And we think that, you know, that maybe God's not real essentially, or something, based off of, you know, you see all this wickedness and these people are prospering.
Right.
Right. I will say, culmination, let's get into demons, and let's also talk about how sometimes we can do wickedness in our lives, right? And we won't feel the effects of it, but our children will.
Right.
Our children's children will. Generations afterwards will feel the repercussions of the things that we've done.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how it also plays. It says that. And it also says those who love me and obey my commandments will be blessed for thousands of generations afterwards.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the whole demon thing, right? We're moving fast.
Yeah. I love
You
it.
know what I mean?
Bang, bang, bang it out.
Yeah. So when Satan, so basically Satan took a third of the angels with him, and like
Yeah.
the heavenly like beings down with him, and they fell.
Yeah.
Right. First phase, like before Noah, like if you guys are familiar with the story of Noah, the
Yeah,
flood came.
The ark, yeah.
Basically these angels were having sex with human women and creating these Nephilim,
Mm-hmm.
right? These giants, you know what I mean? The flood came and washed them all away. Now these impure spirits and souls had nowhere to go.
Mm-hmm.
Their bodies died, but their souls remained. And those are what demons are.
Okay.
The demons are the offspring of angels and humans bound to this earth because they have unclean spirits and souls. Nowhere to go. So they try to come in. Then after the flood, same thing happened. Like Nephilim existed and all that other good stuff. And these fallen angels and demons are still at play right now.
Right.
Doing all this wicked stuff,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So that's what they are.
Right.
And to get even deeper, like that's why if we look at how the world treats us and what the world rewards right now, it's their playing field right now. Like Jesus already won the war, and like he took it over, but they are getting closer and closer to the end times. They have control over all this stuff. And, you know, if we live biblically, most of the time, like it even says like what is good will be considered bad, and what is bad, it will be considered good. So if we use the world to gauge what is good based off our actions and stuff, we're going to fall.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it's evil out here.
Yeah.
You know what I
it
mean?
is.
So don't
Yeah.
use that as an example of what you should and should not do. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like you can feel it.
Yeah. I certainly don't.
Good.
I think that something you and I can both relate is that no matter what goes on, we try to do the better thing, and we lead with kindness.
Yeah.
And you know, in moments I've of course reflected, you know, because people always tell me like you need to be harder, you need to be more harsh, and that's something I never want to change about myself, though. I like that I lead with kindness. I like that I have
we like
that.
soft women.
Yes.
Soft women, that's what we want.
Yes,
Yeah.
I like leading with that, and I don't want that to change because I know
Yeah,
that
no.
it's impactful for some people, and it's also going to work out for me. I say that a
Yeah.
lot, where I'm like,
It
I'm not
is.
going to change that about myself
Right.
just because other people
Right.
don't lead the same way. My kindness is my strength,
Right.
and I will always lead with that, despite what comes back at me because of it.
Right.
So
100%.
Yeah. And I think that's in real estate, it's a dog eat dog world. And there are some realtors that are I just dealt with a really wicked realtor, really mean. And the entire time he's like, she heard this conversation. You're doing such a good job for your clients. And I'm like, I know I am. And I was respectful and kind through this entire thing. And he's tearing apart my entire personality, but saying you were doing such a good job. It was, what was the word you use? You're like, he's pretty much calling you a good girl. And I do feel like I'm a good girl. And I've always had that, you know, I was raised in a very strict household that kind of plays into the dynamic of why I chose who I chose as a life partner. And, you know, I think my dad's doing a lot to change, and he saw kind of the monster he created. He saw the damage he did by not letting me have freedom in a lot of choices, and I was always the good girl, and my sister had a voice growing up, and adults didn't like her as a child because she would say no, and I was always the yes girl. Like,
She's the younger sister?
she's older.
Mm.
Yeah. So and even to this day, she has a big opinion on everything, and she is not afraid to show it. And with me, I'm getting an opinion, but I deliver it with kindness, and I also let people have their opinions, and I don't shove my opinion down people's throats. But I do still have that like good girl personality, and
The softness won't ever completely fade, and
No.
it shouldn't.
It shouldn't.
No.
That's
We don't want it
literally,
to.
that's you.
Yes.
That's your
That's
true
me.
essence. But
Yeah.
the world has tried to strip that from you.
Yes.
And if they strip it, then they succeed and you lose yourself.
exactly.
Yes.
And you
You know what I
said, serve your man, and I saw her twitch at this. So I was always, I'm still that way where I'm like, I will do anything for my man, and like I am just that person where my world revolves around the person that I'm with. And I think that's what created so many issues before, because I lost myself trying to fill his cup and do whatever he wanted, and he had full freedom. And now I'm kind of to the point where I deserve it too. Like, who's going to spoil me? So I saw her twitch during, and I'm like, I have to touch on it because she's been teaching me, God, you deserve
Yes.
somebody who just like kisses your feet and like is obsessed with you. And I'm always the one obsessing.
Yeah, it should go both ways.
Yeah.
I think, because we were in the same scenario. I was
Yeah.
giving, and being used constantly in every which way, and never ever again. But now
Never
that gives me a little
again.
bit where I cut people off right away.
You
I don't
do.
give people a chance, but I know that one day there will be somebody that will give just as I give, because I'll never lose that part of me either, where I'm serving and giving to the person I'm with, but I know that I would like to also
Yeah, it's got to be reciprocated.
yeah.
And I never got the reciprocation from my dad, from the guy that I was with. And I don't know if that'll change in future relationships. But I still have that mindset of serve your man, and I'm such a like I let the man lead, and I don't think that'll ever go away. And I think it's I have an old school way of thinking. My mom was that way, the stand by your man, no matter what happened. And I had that for a long time, and I was willing to go the distance with the person I was with. And he did a lot of bad stuff, and a lot of stuff that I would excuse and just say, I bound myself to him. I have to go along with it. And I think, I don't know, I finally am to the point where I'm like, I want somebody to obsess and love me too. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, I want to just as a man's perspective,
Yeah, please.
throw some stuff in there.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm gonna
So-
take a sip of my coffee. Don't mind me.
Do your thing. Coffee time.
I know. Hold on one sec.
All right.
But go ahead while
Yeah.
we drink.
Yeah, do your thing. Do your thing. All right. So, as we mentioned throughout this show, both need to put God first,
Agreed.
right? If I start to put you 1st, I'm leading us terribly.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I need to put God 1st. You know what I mean? And I know women, again, when it comes to like eating of the apple is knowledge of good and evil, right?
Right.
And women ate it first. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like
Were there cameras? Do we approve? I believe it though.
But
Eve was
basically,
bad.
what I'm no. What I'm saying is that because they ate it first, they probably have repercussions that are different. I already know there's different repercussions from the man and from the woman based off of that.
Right.
And I know that women are always thinking about what's the motive here, what's the intention, blah blah blah. Knowledge of good and evil. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like this chaos of like trying to, you know what I mean? And I feel like that's like the curse that has been bestowed upon you guys.
Yes.
Right.
This constant comparison, this constant,
Yes.
blaming
just
yourself.
dissection.
Yeah.
When it doesn't, you know what I mean? Because we're always like, what's the position? Are they doing a leg up on me? Is it sincere? Is it blah blah blah? And it's blah blah
Yeah.
blah. Oh, it is sincere. Am I sure? Blah blah. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like it's
Yeah.
just never ending.
Yeah.
Yep.
You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
We live it.
I completely relate to that.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah,
know?
you already knew this. I do find that, and that's something that I pretty recently have been like, okay, this is something I need to step back and work on. I'm always trying to like finish the story. Like, we live in fear of the unknown, and we'd like to try to predict, like I said, what is happening while our life is going on. We're sitting there busy planning
Surrender.
it, and yes, you're right.
You know?
Yes, but
But I'm gonna let you speak.
Oh, sorry.
No.
You and I do it constantly. It's, we're like, well, why did this person do that? And oh my God, what does this mean? Oh my gosh, is this going to happen now? And I've been really trying to step back and not do that anymore, because it's not going to change the outcome. And it's a waste of energy to try to figure it out. But you're right. That's what we spend our life
I think
doing.
we live in caution too, though, because of what happened to us. And again, I think I had a lot to blame for my situation. I was young when I got together with him, so, life wasn't lived. I didn't have the experience, and I didn't know what I know now. But I do think that, I forgot where I was going with this.
Word vomit.
Yeah, it literally is. But I do think that everything happens for a reason. I don't know. I had
Just
a
get it
thought.
out.
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. I wasn't saying word vomit is what you were doing.
Yeah.
I'm saying word vomit to get
Just
it.
say whatever you need to say.
To
Yeah.
understand it.
No, there was a place I was going with it, but I forgot. Yeah, it was off of what you said. Oh, there's a reason that we chose the partners that we did.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, yeah, I think we live in caution because of it. I think that we're trying to now predict
Right.
if a guy even looks at us the wrong way. We're like, oh, is he a narcissist? Oh my God, no.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it anymore.
Right.
So it makes me scared of loving again.
That makes complete sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't have an answer for you on this side of stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've never walked it. I've never lived it. I'm not a woman. I don't know what it's like to need protection.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't have an answer.
Yeah. It's weird
We
hearing
don't
it
have
put
to
in
have
that
an answer,
term.
though, right?
I know. I
You
would just
know?
say, get closer to God.
Yeah.
You know
I'm
what I mean?
trying every day. That's the goal, and it really is. And I'm proud of it. It's a motto I live by. I don't shove religion down people's throats, but I do think it's something that I'm proud of, that I have in my life. And, again, it's something that I don't scream from the rooftops and do it for the attention, but I think it's something that defines who I am. And even my kids, being as young as they are, they ask questions about God and, heaven and what it means. And they've experienced a lot of loss in their very young lives. So they're trying to get answers. And it's just nice to be able to explain that, there's somebody higher than us and they love us and there's a plan in place. We don't know what it is, and I've got to stop trying to plan it.
Right. We don't know what it is on the individual level, maybe, kind of, sort of. I mean, again, I need to do also my research on it, on more.
Yeah.
But like when we open up the Bible, we also understand where things are going. Even like with this whole thing and like these wars that are,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, it's getting closer and closer to times getting harder and harder, especially if you're a believer. You know what I mean? There's going to come a time when they're just killing believers.
I know.
You know what I mean? So we have a general idea of the direction things are going.
Yeah.
Our part in it is the daily decisions we have to make. Surrender, I suppose. Again, knowledge. You know what I mean? It's hard to really gauge that. That's a personal journey.
Yep.
But things are definitely going to get worse.
Yeah. Before
As
they
far
get
as
better.
generality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm an
Definitely.
optimist with that stuff. I've got to believe it's going to get worse before it gets better, but I hope everything gets better.
It will, but it'll be different than what's on this world.
Right.
Like, it's going to get better by this world getting destroyed.
Yeah.
And then come time when we die and are then put through judgment, if we make it into the kingdom, it's the best it can be.
Yeah.
It's the best it can be.
Yeah.
And there won't be there's no sex in heaven. You know what I mean?
Oh, God.
She's not going to make it.
I won't make it.
Sex addict. Yeah, so no sex in heaven. So we're not going to have this whole relationship turmoil that we have. And, am I going to be
Right.
protected, guided appropriately? We're all going to be loved and we're all going to be family and it's just going to be beautiful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's why this life is definitely a test. You know what I mean? We just want to find the right person who can give us pleasures and
Yep.
make us feel pleasures and, all this other good stuff. And then we kind of get away from what really matters.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we can't just chase pleasures. And like one last thing I want to touch upon
Yes.
is like, I don't know if I'll articulate it properly, but I'll try my best.
Yeah.
Like again with the worshiping thing of like, there's so many different levels of care.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like if you really want, like it depends on, and you have to like know the type of man that you want.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want a go-getter? Do you want someone who's literally just gonna bow down and be a bitch?
No.
You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if
I
you
want
have
a leader.
if you have a go-getter, then a lot of his time is going to be allocated towards maybe not you,
Right.
but it's working on for you essentially.
Mhm.
It's working so that you can have stuff. You know what I mean? It's trying to take some pressure off you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and you may not have all that time with him,
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean he doesn't care. You know what I mean? So it's a matter of perspective. You know what I mean? You have to understand what are you looking for, and what's like, where's the actual dynamics? Because the more time he starts to spend with you, the more it takes away from him being able to provide.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
And I've gotten a lot of respect for my alone time too. Being in the situation we are, I love coming home and knowing it's just me and my kids, obviously. But, you know, when they're with their dad, it's so nice just coming home and stuff is where I left it, and it's my house, and I don't have to ask permission to put a nail in the wall. And, you know, I did get some help along the way, financial help, and she's helped me, my God, more than I can ever say. But, you know, it's my space, and just like her house is her space. We talk about it all the time, no offense, but we love not having a man in our space. There's not men's clothes in my closet.
No,
and
my closet's full. There's no space.
and dirt tracked through the house from him working all day and coming home and just throwing his stuff. It's nice. I think eventually I'll get to a place where I want a partner again, but it's so nice just having my own place. So,
Yeah, I think for me, it's the space and being on my own has made me value my alone time. So not as much. I'm getting to a point where I can see somebody coming into my space,
mommy.
but not into my time.
Into her heart.
What?
Into your heart.
Oh,
Not
yes.
into your heart.
Yes.
Oh. Yeah, I want them to have their own and value their own time and hobby, whatever they need to do, so that I can also have mine, because I know that I completely lost that before. So that's probably the biggest thing that I would take moving into whatever happens in my future, is just
It's all fairly fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. And I know what I don't want now. So, you know, before I did, I mean, it was anything for money. So that's what the goal was, no matter what. And we would do our separate things, but the goal was money, not to better a life for us or me. And that's where I do want to find somebody who has me as like the end game. It's never been me as the end game. It's always been themselves.
always instant gratification.
Yes.
That's what I feel a lot of
Yeah.
things in general are now. It's just
Even-
about the instant gratification, not about the big picture and everything else that's important. It's just
Yeah.
Definitely.
yeah.
In that moment.
Remember, if the more you know, the more you have a heart for him, the more you're held to a standard.
Yeah.
And it also is extremely rare to find people who are really locked in.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, you know, as women, if you guys really have this heart for God, you know what I mean? Like, it's very rare. Like the people that you will find who also have true hearts for him too. So to
Right.
find that real leadership. And then also, again, I mean, maybe I'll save this for a different time, but yeah, you know, in time.
Yeah.
Every day is a work in progress.
Yeah.
I'll get there. I don't know if I'm fully locked in and where I want to be with my faith, but it's getting there. And same with my life. I'm not where I want to be by any means, and that kind of ties into like my money issues, where I valued money so much and just thought it defined me. So now that I don't have that,
Yeah.
I'm
Good.
in a vulnerable place, and hopefully people like me.
Hopefully people
They
like me.
do.
Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, my
Just-
business is based off
just-
of people liking me. Sell myself every day, and houses.
That's one way to look at it.
Yeah.
For sure. It could also be competence. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like if you can get the job done,
I get it
then
done.
maybe I fucking hate you, but fuck if she doesn't
Yeah.
do a good job.
Yeah. Hey, an agent was yelling at me, and still saying you're doing a great job. And I'm like, I know I am. I know I'm good at my job. That's one place I thrive and I have confidence and I'm
Yeah.
able to just
Because think about it too. Like
shut
sometimes
off the
I'm sure
world.
that there's dudes or women or clients who basically like, no, I want it this way. I want to sell it for this. And you're like,
Yeah.
bro, like, I'm the expert
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
get this shit, but like, this is how it needs to be done. And I know it may be uncomfortable for you, but this is the direction that we're taking. So maybe, you know, sometimes your clients are like, damn, you know what I mean? You got to give the hard truth. Because if you just like, then, you know what I mean? Like, are you really doing your job then at the same time?
That's where I had to grow a pair, honestly, because I was a people pleaser and I'm the good girl. And, you know, I had to learn the hard way that I am the expert. They don't know the market. They don't know, you know, they have this magical number in their head, but is that really doing them justice? Because it's going to sit on the market. We're going to have to lower the price to what I thought we should list at anyway. And you lost time, you lost money.
Exactly.
That's
know
where
who
I'm
your
growing.
clients are.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Attract your real clients.
And
straight
deliver
up.
the news properly. I was horrible at communicating before because I'm like, oh, well, it's not going to sell for that price. I'm like, no, it's not going to sell for that price. The house is only worth what a buyer's willing to pay. And I'm finally at the place where I have only word of mouth clients. I don't have referrals that I pay for, which I rarely did anyway, but now it's fully word of mouth. And it's because of my reputation, and people are like, she does a good job and put out fires, and I have the confidence. Work is the one place I thrive, and when that's not going well, God, everything is going bad then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do struggle when it's not going well.
Yeah, because work is that's my escape.
You mentioned that you're not where you want to be in life, but
Yeah.
I don't know that anybody truly is, and that's where we should be. We should be always wanting
To better ourselves.
to be better or whatever it may be. But what's important is just enjoying where we are in life in that moment. So it might not be where we want to be, but you can still enjoy it if it's not where you want to be, right?
I need to work on that.
Yeah.
I need to
at
live in
least
the
where we
moment.
are now. Yeah, because there was a point in time that nobody could enjoy where I was at one point, but
Me either.
now I can recognize that it's not where I want to be. I want to move in my career. I want to move in a lot of different aspects of my life, but there are aspects that I love and I'm proud of, and
Took a lot of
Yeah.
work to get
Yeah,
here. You look
did.
at me 2 years ago, my God,
Yeah.
I am completely different person.
Yeah.
Not personality wise, but I think confidence, body, mentally, I'm stronger.
Strong.
Yeah, I will never let somebody put me in that position again where I didn't value myself. It's confidence I'm working on, but much better.
I believe in it.
Yeah, me too.
I believe in you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
This was
You're
fun.
so
It's
welcome.
been lovely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Beautiful. All right. So we'll open up the comments down below. You know, anybody who wants to leave any, first of all, before we really stop it, is there any like words of advice or anything that you want to like address to anyone?
You start, girlfriend. Your words
I mean,
of
I
wisdom.
said
Even
it-
like a younger version of yourself
I
or
said
something.
it throughout this, but invest in yourself. I just think that once you feel confident and good, truly good inside, it makes such a difference for those around you, for yourself, for what you're able to give. And then I also said this one. Life is what happens while you're too busy planning it. Just,
Right.
I don't know, just don't worry about every detail. Just let it ride out. It's going to happen.
Yeah. One thing my boss always tells me is the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and not changing what happens. It doesn't change the outcome. So that's one thing I'm trying to teach myself is even in our workout today, it says what you don't change or
You're choosing.
yeah. And even just a little higher on your crunches gives your core a little more strength. So and you said that what you don't change, you're choosing. And we stopped saying it for a certain reason, but it's so true. And you know, I think every day I'm making little changes to better myself, and same with everybody out there. And one thing I've learned is never rely on people fully, always have a backup plan. And I know that sounds horrible to not have faith in other people, but you can only have faith in him and yourself, and that's all you have at the end of the day. People can screw you over no matter what. So I've learned, like, I've got to, like, rely on myself and have faith in myself. There were a lot of times that I just didn't trust myself, and I think it's why it took me so long to leave such a horrible situation. And it's because I didn't trust that I'd get through it. And I will say it's much harder than I thought it would be, but I'm surviving. I'm here.
Yeah.
And I'm still a better person for it. And I did things the right way, and in a way where I do have a clean conscience. And I think on Judgment Day, overall, I am going to be viewed as a good person. I've had mistakes here and there, but overall, I think I've handled this with grace, generosity, and I've been true to myself. I'm a kind person. Softness.
God willing, we'll have a lot more opportunities to prove
that
we're deserving as well. So.
Yes.
Every moment, every decision.
Yeah.
Every
There's
moment.
a lot of seconds in a day, so
Yeah.
definitely.
Yes.
Definitely. Beautiful. All right, guys.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. You're
This
so
was
welcome.
fun.
Yeah.
It was good. Good therapy.
Yeah. Is that what you're here for?
I mean, it's about hardship, adversity. I try to
Yeah.
just listen, hear people out.
Yeah.
Some people are maybe still in their hardships.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know some viewers are definitely in their hardships still.
Yep.
You know, so yeah, we want to basically give guidance. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Some tools, some
absolutely.
helpful tools that people can, you know, help.
Absolutely.
You know, so yeah, this is like therapy. People tell me it's better than therapy, and that's
It
what
is.
I hope it to be better than that.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Another thing I want to add, one last thing,
Yes.
is those who have, more will be given to, and those who those who don't have, more will be taken. Something like that, but that's a verse.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you can interpret that however. I like to interpret it as gratitude.
Right.
The more if you have, the more you're grateful for, the
Mhm.
more you have, like there will be for you to be grateful for. The
Right.
less you're grateful for, the more will be taken for you for that you not to be grateful for.
Yep.
So gratitude goes a long way.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
something we're instilling in our kids every day. So that's good. I'll have to tell them that.
Yeah. Look up the actual verse.
I will.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
but I like to use gratitude as the placeholder for those who have being gratitude.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But yeah.
No,
So-
I love
Thank you.
that.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you. And thank you for the lessons.
I know.
We learned
Shedding
something.
your wisdom is
Yeah.
going to make a difference and going to help people going through it too.
Yeah.
So,
You know, we're not alone in this. This is a
Yeah.
community. You know, that's what we're building here. You know, again, if you guys stumble through your walk, I want, you know, to basically create a place where you guys can, you know, maybe come to and get some correction or
Right.
just get it like a ear or something.
Yeah.
You know what I
Right.
mean? No judgment. Just, you know, that's what it comes down to. Like I want it to be like outside of the podcast, like all these people coming together and being able to,
Right.
but like it stems with me for at the
Right.
same, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so
Right.
like I have to like create that
Mhm.
in order
Build
for
the
there to be
community.
right. So that being said, you know, you're more than welcome to reach out,
Thank
come
you.
on again, whatever you feel is best for you. You know what I mean? Like this is love.
Thank
You know what I'm
you.
saying? So that's what we
feel
have.
it.
Yeah.
You
It
know what I'm
was
saying?
good.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So love you guys. Anything
Thank
else?
you.
I feel like you're gonna
Well,
say something.
I was gonna say same with any viewers. If there's ever
Yeah.
anybody who wanted to reach out and wanted guidance, I don't know
Yes.
how much I could shed, but I
We've-
love
Sometimes
to
you don't
do
need to
so.
have an answer.
We've
Right?
been through some
yes,
things.
yeah,
for
just
sure.
being an ear,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, I feel
So-
like we've been in a place where a lot of women have been, and a lot of people have reached out knowing the situation and have asked, how did I do it? And I'm like, I don't know. Every day is a battle. Every
Valid.
day is happy too. It was the best thing I did was just choosing myself.
One
choosing
step at a time.
yourself. Yeah.
Choosing yourself.
Yeah.
Bang. All right.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. This was a pleasure. I loved having you guys. I loved meeting you
Thank
guys. This was
you.
very
Same.
awesome.
Yes, likewise.
Organic conversations. You
Yeah.
never know where they're going to go.
Yeah.
No.
But I felt like we had a lot of love in here. So I love that.
I did.
And I'm excited just for every bit of the journey that you guys have. I know there's going to be pain that continues to keep showing up as life has. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I'm going to experience pain. Viewers are going to experience pain. We're all going to experience it. But that doesn't mean we have to be alone or feel alone.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you guys got that.
Yeah.
I believe in it. I believe in it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And don't, like, again, we're all gonna stumble. Don't feel like you feel free to reach out.
Thank
you.
You
you.
know, like,
Thank you. And same to the viewers. And forgive yourselves.
yeah. Iron sharpens iron, and I feel like that's a beautiful place to end off. Guys, again, leave some comments down below. Anything that you want to just address, or even just like message them. We'll link their socials down below too, so you guys can check them out. And until the next time, we'll see you then.
Thank you.